The Derek Relaford Show on Bedroom Radio.
And we are back. I'm joined by my good buddy Dusty Grant of the Sprout and Dusty Show, which is on a hiatus right now because, and I knew that was going to happen as soon as the bars start opening back up. You guys are going to get busy.
Yeah, the gigs are. I know the gigs really started pouring in for Sprout quickly.
He's busy.
Yeah, and I've had a couple things. I've had some stuff offered that I didn't jump on, but I've got a lot of plans and stuff that I'm working on. And it just got to the point where we're talking and we're like, man, let's table this for a minute and try to get some of this stuff out of the way, because I'm preparing for the studio and I've been chomping at the bit to get working on some new music and stuff like that too. So
I think it was good for both of your online personas too. Like, people knew who you guys were before Sprout and Dusty, but now maybe it's a bad thing, but now they really know who you are.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I would rather have a small group of people that actually like me for who I am than have a large group of people and I don't get to be who I am.
Yeah.
So I think that's changed for me a little bit as I've gotten a little more maybe mature, in my older years. Like I just feel like I'd rather be connected with cool people and just not really have to pander. I'm kind of tired of the pandering and the rat race and the chasing.
We're going to have quite a few guests on that. If you're watching, please start a watch party. Please share it. We're getting ready to bring Alex Aldape on here in just a second. If you see on the screen there, we've raised about 3 hours ago. I saw that a buddy of mine, his wife had posted on a Trader page. Welcome to the show, Alex. His wife had posted on a Trader page that they were looking for, and I'm not going to say their names because I think they kind of know about it now and they weren't too mad, but they're like very proud people. They work their ass off for what they have. My buddy's dad has a tumor in his head somewhere, and it's like he's lost. He sent me a picture of him like 4 months ago, and he was a big guy, and now he's very skinny. And he's having trouble getting out of the recliner every day, and like that's literally all he has is sitting in a recliner watching TV and getting up and walking around. So they were just looking, they weren't asking for a handout or anything. They're just like, hey, we're looking for a used power lift chair. If anybody has one. Now they're in a small town. They're not going to find a power lift chair
right
on the Trader pages. So I've been looking at some online. The very most basic ones that would work, but they don't look comfortable at all are like $380. So I made a goal of $380 to see if we could raise $380 to get this gentleman a chair, since he he's got cancer, man. He's not going to be here much longer. Let's make his last days on earth as comfortable as possible. And so far we've raised $430 in 3 hours. So if you could share the show, if anybody has a couple bucks they want to put towards a good cause, most of the money will go straight to that family. I will buy crack with a little bit of it.
You just got to buy crack with a little.
Yeah, you have
just a little bit of crack.
Only one person messaged me so far, and they're like, "You better not be fucking making shit up." I told Stephanie because I was like $430, and she was like, "Wow," and I was like, "So do I keep it or
are we actually going to give it to him?"
Hopped up here right there for a second. He's like, "Cool, man. That's
a lot of money.
Good time."
Yeah, we were talking and I had seen that you made a post on Facebook today, and it was real slow in the afternoon at work. So I was just kind of browsing and I saw that you made a post, and then it was like 20 minutes later, I looked and you're like, holy shit, we're at $300. And it seemed like it just kept going. And then you're messaging me, hey, you're going to get more. You're going to get more. And now you're up to 430. And I imagine during this show, people are going to be spending a little more money.
Yeah, let's spend some money today. Let's help these people out and buy a little bit of crack. Just a little bit of crack.
Yeah, if we get
I can't watch Twitch on my phone. I guess Twitch just keeps loading the video in a second. Well, that sucks, Chase. Thanks for being here on Facebook. Matthew Sondag says Alex Aldape owes him $5. So he's going to have to throw into that pot before
I do, but I still have that. Sondag, DM me your address because I do have that Browns beanie that I never sent you or dropped off to you. Or I'll take it to you on Thanksgiving.
Hey Matt, send me your address and I'll send you this.
See, that's what Ashley used, dude. I like those those tanks.
Yeah, this is yours, you idiot.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. He's like, I love those. You know,
You guys are in a
I
new
used to
realm.
have one.
I used to have one, and then I immediately, as soon as we got back from Phoenix, because I left it there, I
So
bought
is
a
the
new one.
Wu-Tang, tell me, is the Wu-Tang symbol being like transparent
It's
with the
green.
green screen? Is that
No, it's
is
yellow,
that
but apparently it's picking it
intentional?
up. No, it's
Well, it's sweet.
yellow.
Yeah, I think they should have a new design.
Yeah, yeah.
See,
that's pretty dope.
there's a popular Twitch channel where this guy everything except for his face is gone, and he's like on a cartoon cowboy riding a horse. Billions of dollars a day. People just hand it. And he's just like riding a fake horse, and that's what we're looking for. So if anybody wants to ride a fake horse for a charity, we're looking for that.
You know, there's that new app that you can put yourself in the movie.
Oh yeah,
the
Reface.
real face or whatever.
Yeah.
Have you done that?
No, I haven't, but like I've got a buddy, and I think Derek, we should interview him Sunday. He just, you know, the guy I talked to, like I lost track with this guy because one day he just disappeared. Turns out he'd been in prison for several years. So he's been out for like a few months, and he's just discovering all these things. About to block him because all he posts is pictures of that fucking of that face, like him in his face in a movie. And like, dude, okay, I understand. Like, you guys didn't have this in prison, but like,
I'm Scarface, dude. Look,
You're
I'm
not
Scarface. Yeah,
Scarface.
dude.
Eat
Yesterday you were.
But you know he probably paid like $49 for that app. You know they're gonna let you make one
sure
movie
he
on that
did.
app. and that's
I've
it.
got cool. I mean, like I've got some friends that have used it pretty funny. You know, like they don't do it all the time, and it's like during something, and they use it real sarcastically, and they'll like be in the scene from Desperado or something. And I mean, like then it's funny, but like just a different character on it. I've got friends like that are doing that too. It's kind of creepy. I mean, it's really creepy anyway, seeing your face like on Jean-Claude Van Damme or whatever. I mean, it just creeps me out to begin with, and then it's every single day. It's like, oh, look at me, I'm in this movie. I'm in this.
Well, I
movie.
also never looked that great.
No, I don't think you can put this on anybody and make it look good.
I like it when somebody spends like 14 hours and they like take like a scene from The Office and they put Michael Scott's face on every character. That's a mind fuck. Just like, what the fuck am I watching here, dude? And the first time I saw that, you know, I didn't know. I mean, first of all, let's be honest, dude, face swap technology, creepy.
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
It is very creepy.
They could superimpose you on video committing crimes where you're not there.
Oh yeah.
Easily
With
an app. I mean, literally, you just take a phone and put it in a little frame, and then all of a sudden you can just use that face on and put it on anything or anybody you want. I mean, that freaks me out a little bit because there's some sketchy individuals out there.
Yeah. Have a nerd friend that can bail you out of anything. They'll be like, they know code and stuff. They're like, this was manipulated. I mean, but seriously, like face, like my phone, like that didn't scare me because I don't have anything to hide. But like, I unlock my phone with my face. I just look at it and it turns on.
Right.
Yeah.
That's some fucking pretty crazy shit.
This new computer that I got, man, I just got a new setup, and thanks for helping me set that up right before in the 11th hour here. But I got the computer, and like, do you want to do face recognition on your computer? I'm like, sure. And I just sit down, and now I just hit a button and it recognizes my face and logs me in, and no one else can get on my computer now. I'm like, this is cool, but at the same time, like, it's super weird. And then you've got the coronavirus out there, and it feels like you're watching a sci-fi movie anyway. It's just, and like, I'm a little intimidated by some of the technology with this new computer.
I mean, dude, it speaks leaps and bounds that like a few months ago, the United States government admitted they copped to aliens and nobody flinched. Everybody's like,
No one did a fucking thing about it.
Everybody just like,
Tom
yeah,
DeLonge.
I get it.
Tom DeLonge just is like, fuck it. I give up. I spent all
Told
this
ya.
money. I'm giving up. I'm going. They're kicking Matt Skiba out, and we're going back. I'm going back to Blink 182. He's like, I did all this work, and
they're just gonna let it out.
They're just gonna let it out. So that makes me think that the best thing that Blink 182 has ever done, other than Carousel, has been making the government admit that there's aliens.
They kind of have to, man. You have so many like retired like Air Force guys that are like, I've seen some shit, man. It's like, you know, and like when I was like younger, one of my aunts was like talking to me and my brother, and we believed in aliens, and she didn't. And she was a big Christian, and she was like, "You guys really think there's like slimy gray men out in the world?" And he's like, "You really think there's a guy with the horns on his head and a tail and a pitchfork, and he's trying to get you?" And she was like, "You can't talk to me like that because you're a child." And but like, I mean, like for a while there, I was like, "Yeah, there's probably no such thing as like weird looking aliens out there. That's weird." But then like, if you just took me to, I don't know, 40 feet to the bottom, just 40 feet down in the ocean, I'm gonna see shit that I'm gonna be like, "What the hell is that?"
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
there's already alien looking shit walking among us every day. Like
they're discovering new species in the ocean like pretty much daily.
Well, we've only. Go ahead.
No, well, I don't know what and that's probably what you're getting to. I don't know what the percentage is, but we haven't explored
like 10%.
Yeah, anywhere close to all the ocean and like as deep as it goes, and they're finding all those like dinosaur type things coming up from the bottom that are like 180 years old and shit. I mean, like you don't know. I mean, if that stuff exists on this planet, to think of how large the universe is.
When the polar ice caps melt and we become water world, you're going to be eaten by one of these things Dusty just described.
Probably.
Oh, yeah. You know, so that thing in Waterworld, that fucking thing where he shoots the shit out of the sides, the arrows out of the sides. Oh, that exists. It's still here today.
I've never seen Waterworld.
What?
I don't want to because it's scary.
I've heard so many bad things about it.
Oh, it's a terrible movie, but you know what? It stars.
I know it's Costner, right? And he has
it stars Kevin Costner, but I don't give a shit about Kevin Costner. But the actual star of the show is the villain of the show, and that is played by Dennis Hopper, and he is from Dodge City, Kansas.
Dennis Hopper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I listened to a radio show where they were actually doing like a breakdown of that movie and talking about like how terrible it actually was. And so at that point, I actually became intrigued because I do like some bad stuff and some campy stuff and all, and especially from that era. So I should probably see it, but I don't think I could get my wife to sit down and watch it.
Dude, it's honestly, I don't see why it gets so much hate. I really don't. I really don't understand.
I mean, it's hard to make. Like Titanic barely made a movie out on the water for the whole movie entertaining, and everybody died in that one. Like,
yeah.
It's a boring concept. Like, hey, it's a movie about the ocean. Well, the ocean's fucking boring unless you're actually out there. Then it's terrifying. Just going on a cruise and everything goes okay is terrifying. It's just like you're out there in the fucking. Real quick, Ian says he didn't believe in hell, and then you heard reggae. Boom. Coming up early to fuck with Alex Adope. This is something Jeremy Dean Peterson says.
You know, I've missed you. You know, one thing that I hasn't gone a day in my mind, and I've never just sat down and contemplated. Man, I really miss Ian.
My mom doesn't even do that.
Yeah, I know she doesn't because he's just a dick.
I would think that octopuses are aliens. I think there's a lot like a platypus. If that was real, that's an alien. Like.
There's some very weird like videos with octopuses doing some very weird shit. Like when they're crawling into a fishbowl and then they crawl out of it and move stuff around. And it's just like, you know, if that exists where we can find it, you know, if you have, I don't even know if you can, have they developed anything that can go deep enough to even explore?
I think there's pressure issues. Don't even like camera lenses like break under that kind of pressure.
Yeah, because what was the movie with Ed Harris? The one where they went way deep down the.
Was that The Cell?
No, the one you know what I'm talking about. The one where he's
The Abyss.
All the way.
The Abyss. The Abyss. Yeah.
The Abyss.
Where he like they had to go to like the amniotic or the embryonic fluid like goes into your nose and shit like that.
Yeah, the goo, the pink goo in the helmet, and it like helped your oxygen levels. Did you ever see that one, Derek?
Yeah, I had pieces of my brother made me watch it a few times. See, I'm one of those people that like unless it can really happen, like in my reality, like I just very boring to me. Like Lord of the Rings, very boring. Star Wars, very boring.
I'm the same way.
But if it could really happen, I'm really into that kind of shit. Now, I've been watching a lot of movies that I would never watch in my life recently, but I have to watch them on mute because I'm working. So I saw like Van Helsing the other day. I would never watch that movie.
Oh my God.
Oh, dude, Van Helsing was a
I
great
didn't hear
movie.
any word they said, but like watching it, I was like, this is a hell of a flick, man.
I
Hugh
can't do it.
Jackman was great, man.
I can't do it. Like my wife is really like digs on those fantasy movies and shit. Like when the new Marvel stuff comes out, I did feel like a dick too because it was right on the tip of my tongue. The pressure got to me, and I did not deliver. But like my wife is really into the fantasy stuff, and she's like, "Well, we're going to the movie since I know you don't want to go." Because I'll go and I'll be trying to watch it, and she looks over and I'm like.
You know what? That's a valid fucking point, dude. I like really like I was not into like I was into Batman. I mean, I was into DC comics, and I felt like DC made it seem more real.
Well,
But they
Batman
still
doesn't
had-
fly.
Batman doesn't fly. I mean,
I
they
think a
still have
rich
Green
guy.
Lantern and shit.
He's a
but, like,
rich guy.
Batman could totally die at any time.
and Superman, but Batman could totally die at any time.
If you shoot him anywhere right here, he's gonna die.
But so could the
Yeah,
Joker.
you shoot him right
Yeah.
there.
But
There's
the
not a lot
Joker
of
was badass.
supernatural, a ton of supernatural on that side. It doesn't seem like Superman's like,
Well,
I
I
looked
mean,
at you and you're dead. Oh, that sucks. I guess.
but
I'll lay
that, I
down
mean
and
that,
die
but
now.
that's DC as well. But like at the same time, it's like, you know, I don't know. I really got into the whole Batman universe and also like a lot of the Frank Miller stuff. And I forgot where I was going with this. But oh no, the fantasy stuff. Like my wife, like all right, secret time. So when the final Harry Potter book came out, people were lined up at Hastings and Dodge City, and I found a leak of what happened at the end, and I just said I had a sign that said Harry dies at the end, and people got pissed because I
Wow.
thought Harry Potter was stupid. I was like, "This is dumb. This is
That was a shitty thing to do.
that was
That was a shitty thing
I
to
feel
do.
really bad about it. I honestly do because I only read like the last chapter of the final book, and that's all the Harry Potter I'd ever read. And then me and Ashley got married, and like when I was living in Dumas, Texas, like to keep me awake while I'm driving back and forth, she would like sit on speakerphone and read Harry Potter to me, and I really fell in love with the series.
Ugh, I've never even seen it. I've seen it like when
No,
the
don't
kid,
see the movies first.
I don't want to see the movies or read
Oh,
the
the
books.
movies are great, dude. The movies are great. It's a great holiday thing. See the movies first, and then read the books.
Well, in the limited amount of free time I have, I can assure you, I'm putting down the stamp right now that there's no way I'm watching any Harry Potter or reading any of it.
Is there any movies that you said that you weren't? My brother read all the books. He says they're really good. Is there any movies that you straight up said you were never going to watch? There was one that I don't know why, but when 8 Mile came out, I was like, I'm never going to watch that fucking movie because I was a hater.
I saw it in the theater. I loved it.
I
thought
was
it
just
a
like,
great movie.
fuck Eminem. You know, this is right at the heyday of and that's what happens in pop culture. We blow you until we spit you out. And I was ready to spit Eminem out because, in my opinion, I even think he would look back on like where like he got to the heyday, like he was kind of getting lost and stuff. I don't know. I was a hater, and I got stuck in Goodwill, Oklahoma, living in a trailer with my buddy Lance Lee, and he was like, I'm gonna watch 8 Mile, and like I was gonna have to leave the room to keep this like oath that I gave myself, and I was like, that's stupid. So I watched it, and it was a good movie, and I even rubbed one out during the Brittany Murphy scene later.
In
Yeah.
front of Lance Lee.
No, it was in another room.
Don't lie. Don't lie. You and Lance fully enjoyed that.
There's tons of stuff like that, but I mean, like I can be sucked into something if I do sit down and like give it my attention. That's the biggest thing for me is I'm a freaking water bug. I'm all over the place and I have a hard time sitting still. But when I sat down and we watched that first season of 13 Reasons Why on Netflix.
I had to find 5 reasons to finish it.
The first season I was like kind of digging it. The second season totally off the rails, and we finished it. And then the third
Yeah.
season, I watched like one episode, and I was like, I'm out. I can't.
Yeah,
look at
I
this
was
anymore.
exactly the same way.
I can't do
Exactly
it.
the same way. Like the first season. Well, also like that. The first season was so politicized. Like they're they're showing this to the kids in school, and it's it glorifies suicide.
It does, and but the suicide scene at the very end was super morbid.
Oh,
I
but
mean,
I'm-
it was. I was like, and I appreciated it. I was like, for this campy Netflix series, I know what they're going. I get what they're going for, and like, I'll buy into the high school, whatever it is that they're going. I was buying what they're selling.
Yeah.
I was watching it.
But then, like the last few episodes of the first season, they just like hit you with the fucking dick hammer.
Dark
Like,
shit.
oh, well, like
and I appreciated that. I was pleasantly surprised.
I was too.
I was pleasantly surprised by. Hey.
suicide is badass.
But I was pleasantly surprised by the darkness at the end of that, and I was like, that was pretty solid. I was looking up, but my wife recommends stuff all the time that I didn't think I would like. Like me and her have been watching Oz. Have you guys ever watched the Oz
That
series?
was a long time ago, man.
Yeah.
I haven't. I don't
And
have
it's
the
not
energy
even
to
in
watch
high
Oz.
def now. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a square thing, but I'm hooked on it. I love it.
Oz is great.
It's not the clearest Mastio Bestial anal
Well,
butt
back
sex I've ever
when
seen.
Oz came out, we had the screens were round.
Yeah.
I watched Oz when I was in high school. My buddy Noah from Bleed the Sky used to watch it, and
Noah Robinson.
you remember your first rape scene.
Yeah.
When you're watching it with a group of people, you're just like, we're just gonna watch this, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm watching Oz now, and it makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable sometimes. And I think our society is way more accepting of that and that type of stuff happening in entertainment and all that. And I think back then when they were making it, it's like, holy shit, they were 15 years ahead of their time. They were,
Oh.
I mean, they were cutting
HBO
edge.
has always been ahead of like Sopranos
Yeah.
is a great show. I
I've
never
watched
watched
The
it.
Sopranos.
I
You
never
never
watched
did?
it, and
Oh,
then I
it's
watched it with Stephanie.
fantastic.
It's one of the best shows I've ever seen, dude. Minus the ending, but how do you end any show? Every ending in most shows suck compared to if you ask the audience. But
Yeah.
Sopranos, dude, like you're talking like ahead of it. Like Sopranos was the very first show that now everybody's favorite show is because of the Sopranos, like that style of shooting, basically like an hour-long movie every week.
Oz
Yeah.
was before. Oz
No,
was
Oz
before
was
Sopranos.
after, like
Was it?
towards the tail. I think like maybe halfway through Sopranos.
No, Oz might be
started up.
first because no.
Oz was
Let me
first.
see.
Oz
Because
was first.
there was something in Oz.
I remember watching Oz when I was like maybe
Let me
like
look
the
it up.
first couple seasons. I watched Oz when I
Oh,
was
yeah,
like still in
Google
middle
that shit.
school.
We can Google that.
We have
We-
computers.
Yeah, duh.
COVID.
I'm looking up Oz.
I'm looking up Oz too. Who's the lady who's in that? She's so good.
Who the doctor?
The girl that's also in Sopranos.
Let's see.
Edie Falco.
Oh, Edie Falco. Yeah. Oz was 1997.
Sopranos didn't come out till like early 2000s.
I don't know.
I think Oz might have been first,
Mm-hmm.
but still though.
Oz was 97. I'm looking at the Sopranos. Premiered on 99. So you're right. Yeah. Sopranos premiered 2 years after Oz began.
But Oz is kind of like The Office in the sense where there was like interviews. Like the Oz was kind of like the beginning of like, let's do a TV show and we're gonna pretend like we're interviewing these people, but there's no fucking chance there's an actual camera in this prison. These people are talking to themselves. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, God love HBO. We're joined right now by my buddy Joe. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
You even look like Dusty. I invited you here for two reasons. I want to talk about your podcast because you have way more downloads than we get. And two, Dusty is a jujitsu guy. Now, you're jujitsu, right?
Correct.
How long have
that's
you been training,
Yeah,
sir?
there you go.
I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 3 years.
Are you a blue belt?
Getting there. My coach is a little stingier.
Okay. Where
Which
do you
I
train?
the Academy of Elk River, it's a branch off of the Academy main branch in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, that was founded by Greg Nelson. They've had UFC champs such as Sean Shirk and Brock Lesnar and all that.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's awesome, man. So they promote slow.
Yes.
So does the gym I train at. Time too is slow with that. Like people are like, man, when am I going to get promoted? It's like you just bought yourself another 6 months and not getting promoted, buddy. Like
exactly.
If you're asking for it, you're not ready for it. You know, that type of thing. And I respect that. That way, when you get a stripe on that belt, you're like, I know I earned that. You know,
exactly.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is, I say that to my close friends at the gym, like, God, on Wednesday I was rolling with a buddy and I was going for a heel hook and I had to let it go because I'm not a blue belt.
Right.
And he goes, sooner or later. And it's like, he thought I was going to get it that Wednesday night, which I did not.
Well, you're close then. Dude, blue belt is the hardest. When you get your blue belt, you're like, holy shit, these guys have been taking it easy on me. And like,
I know.
You feel like as a white belt, you're like, this is survival mode. I'm just coming in here trying not to die. These guys are monsters. And then you get your blue belt and you find out they were taking it easy on you. And you're like, can I give this back? I don't want this shit.
What belt are you at?
I'm a brown belt.
Oh, God damn.
I've been training for almost 11 years. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And hold on, can we pause the belt conversation for just?
Yeah, I'm getting fucking broed up over here, man. Y'all
I'm ready to fucking like. Come on, I know some Mexican judo.
Some nerds,
you don't know who you're messing with. But no, Joe, you used to be on Savage Thoughts.
Correct.
Oh man, I haven't talked to you in a long time. We're still friends on Facebook, so you haven't deleted me.
No,
not yet.
Yeah.
But you have lost a lot of weight and you look great.
Yeah, he Joe isn't used to fat, Dusty.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We
have a lot of guys that come in. Like we got this kid that's training now. He's like 14, 15. He came in, he was just a dough ball. I mean, just soft, no confidence, nothing about him. And then he's been training for probably 6 months and he's leaning out and he can throw a punch now and he's commenting on stuff on social media and he's like confident now. He's like, I just learned that I can stick up for myself. I'm training with you guys. You guys at my school aren't going to do nothing. Like, that's awesome to hear. Is it jujitsu that helped you lose the weight?
Glad to see that you started the Southwest Kansas Cobra Kai.
What helped me was, so I entered my first tournament. I used to be 225 pounds, which is big for my body frame. Like when I cut weight, and I'm being lazy, I cut down to 155.
Oh, wow. Okay.
If I was really disciplined, I could do 145.
Oh, yeah. No way for me.
Yeah. So
145.
So what I would do is I would weigh 160 pounds before I entered the sauna, and I'd come out at 145 pounds, weigh in, rehydrate, and then go for it.
So you must actually have organized tournaments because, like, dude, I've been to tournaments where I've tried to do that and cut weight and hydrate and time everything, and then my bracket gets delayed like 6 hours, and I'm peaking at the totally wrong time. And
I don't cut more than a couple pounds for a day of weigh-in, like Grappling Industries. Yeah. I'll do 170 just because I'm not cutting to 155 but like Naga, which is a day before weigh-in, I'm cutting as much. That's a 159.9 class.
Then you fucking like power fucking eat right afterwards.
No, that's a mistake. You'll die. Not die.
Well, not like power eat, but like you'll actually like fucking stop.
You take in some carbs, drink them.
I mean, I'm a wrestler. I used to be a wrestler. I mean, I know about like all about cutting weight.
On Survivor, those idiots, they'll go like 20 days where they're only eating a bowl of rice every day, and then they win some contest, and they're like, oh, 14 ribeyes, don't mind if I do. And then it shows them like trying to shit out a fucking Volkswagen later. It's like, oh, so like, my body's not working like she used to. Like, no shit, dude. Joe, let me ask you this, man. So why jujitsu? Is it just to stay in shape? Because you and Dusty are both training all the time. You're trying to get these belts, and then like me, the fly on the wall is like, why? Like, what are we? Because me and Dusty talked earlier, and I guess in jujitsu, you're kind of taught to walk away from fights out in public unless you straight up have to. So what are we actually training for? Like just for a hobby? Are we trying to stay fit, or you guys want to be killing machines if you have to be?
All the above. All the above. Like I've had a combat jiu-jitsu match. So like once it hits the ground, striking is legal.
Was it open fist? Was it open hand or was it
open
fist?
palm?
Okay.
Open palm.
So it was like, was it one of the like Eddie Bravo type combat jiu-jitsu?
It was that kind of style.
Okay.
I learned how to hit very well with the heel of my hand.
Yeah.
But I got caught in a damn triangle because it was a big white belt mistake. I watched that video over and over and I kicked myself. So I got into it because I've been a big mixed martial arts fan, but I don't want to be a fucking Kyle. Okay.
I do MMA. I got tattoos on my chest, bruh.
And a monster truck sticker and a big.
I only do American traditional tattoos
and a tiny dick.
Yeah, real
American
tiny dick.
Yeah. Do Krav Maga.
Yeah. I didn't want to be that guy, and I had to get in shape. So it's like, okay, jiu-jitsu it is. And then, like, the past year, I've also been training Muay Thai. I want to be able to, when you start training, you realize how much you don't know.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
I'm sure.
all the shit I talked before I started training, I couldn't have backed that up to save my life.
No way. Derek and I were talking today. I was like, dude, the 25-year-old me that had never trained a day in his life thought he was badass. And I spent one day in a jiu-jitsu gym and a 155-pound guy slammed me on my head and destroyed me. I'm like, oh.
For me, it's a
I gotta learn
120-pound girl. 120-pound girl got me.
Oh yeah, they will get you. There's some 135, 140-pound black belt girls that I've rolled with that will put the fucking screws.
Are you showing mercy when you're fighting a girl?
No.
Yeah. Okay, you match the strength. You don't go full man strength against them, or otherwise you just crush them. I try to really work technique with women.
That's what I do as well.
Yeah. Because
now fuck all that.
Hold on.
You're at the grocery store, and a woman challenges you. Do you match the strength, or do you?
Are we striking, or are we going to the ground?
Yeah, flying Ben Askren knee right to the
yeah. Is it going to be are we going to be fighting in the clinch, stand up at boxing range,
one of you has to die.
Range, which one of us has to die? My guess is I'd probably keep it standing until I had her hurt real bad, and then I'd take her down and choke her.
All right. So caveat, like
I can't believe I answered that.
The worst time I've ever been beat in wrestling was to a girl.
Man, I wish you wouldn't tell this. Huh? I wish you wouldn't tell this story in public, but go ahead.
Oh no, dude, that chick went on to be a Nebraska state champion. Because they let her wrestle with all the guys. Like, that chick kicked my fucking ass.
That happened with Frank Mir's daughter, former UFC heavyweight champion. And she just had her first fight yesterday, and she won. She's 17. Never had an amateur fight in her life. Went down to Mexico and had her first pro fight and won. She beat up a 33-year-old chick.
That probably had way more experience, way more training, all that type of stuff. It's like
seven pro fights.
She had 7. The girl that Mir's daughter beat had 7 pro fights.
Yep. And so she probably had a shit ton of amateur. Because my coach is like, so I told him I want to do an MMA match before I'm 40.
How old are you?
I'm 38.
Oh, I'm 39. So we're like this exact same age.
36. Yeah. 36, 37. Oh, we're all in the same. We're all in the
same wheelhouse.
We're old. But the rule is you got to do a shit ton of tournaments and have like 10 Muay Thai fights under them. But if you show your Muay Thai is really good, he'll put you in there earlier. Like we have a hookup with LFA and I can't think of the promotion right now. It's Caitlin Young's a promoter for it.
I know LFA because LFA does events here, and my buddies fight in LFA sometimes, but I don't know the other one.
Yeah, it's something simple too. I can't remember it. So we have hookups with those, but I mean, I know I'm not going to be a professional. I'm way too old to be a pro anything, but to challenge myself, I love like coordinated competition. Fighting on the street scares the shit out of me. Because what if I knock a guy out, he hits his head on a curb and dies? What if I put him in a rear naked choke, but something gets pinched, blood shuts off to his brain? That's very rare, but it can happen. What if he knocks me out? I hit my head, I die.
Shit on the shoot you.
Yeah, what if he just pulls out a gun and blows your fucking head off right there?
That's my main driving force. Like, of course, I don't fight people because I don't want to see if I'm a good fighter, like in public in front of my kids. But the main reason I don't really fuck with people in public, Dan, is because like people will straight up shoot you now. I mean, forever. That's always like you know, it's like you piss off the wrong person that happens to have a gun and happens to not be all there. They might shoot you, and then they're dead. Like,
well. That's sorry, let me if you piss somebody off and let's not
I'm saying like if you're in traffic and some guy's honking
I'm
at
not
you,
going to pull a gun on a guy in traffic though.
No, but in Phoenix, I've lived here for 3 years. There's been 2 people that were shot dead
right before
because they like
went down
talked shit to somebody in traffic that cut them off or something. The guy, 2 separate people pulled over and said, "Oh yeah,
be allowed a gun."
Bang!
Oh yeah,
shot them.
My parents live in Scottsdale, right? And you know Scottsdale is not like a violent area. Mm-hmm. So they were their neighbor across the street was at the Walgreens, the neighborhood Walgreens, and apparently this attorney thought that the person stole their parking spot and was like super pissed off, followed him home from the Walgreens. And this guy's an attorney, like an active working attorney. He followed them. He completely fucking snapped. Followed him home and shot the guy in the head in his driveway. Insane. I mean, just over a freaking parking spot. I mean, I don't want to go out there and prove how tough I am on the street. I don't need to know that. You don't
need that. Like you can fucking like, I don't know. Like maybe you're 39. You're 30. Sorry, Joe. What are you? 38.
38. Yeah.
Derek, you're 37. I'm 36. Like we've got like one of every spectrum. What happened to fucking boxing with the dude?
Well, I think you can still have that, but I think
I have a gun in my car. I carry a gun all the fucking time just because you never know what's going to happen.
But don't you live in New York also?
No, I live in that's Ricky. I live in Kansas City.
See, the thing is, and I think that it's good that we have martial arts and stuff because, like, I was talking to Dusty earlier, like, fighting is a very natural thing, and being a human, being an animal, like animals fight. When I was in high school, me and these 2 dudes, we were like friends, and it was weird because like we were always like whoever wasn't there, we were always trying to like outshine them. And it was weird. It was like a 3-way battle for best friend. It didn't make sense. And one summer we just weren't getting along anymore. Everybody's bitching each other, and we were finally just like we got into a fight on it. We were just at a baseball field and we kicked the shit out of each other. And afterwards, we were better friends than we ever had been in our life.
Shake his fucking hand.
But like, when you're dealing with a stranger you don't know in public, the chances are they're probably not going to shoot you. But if you like, okay, you see that video of that guy that was arguing with a girl in her car, and her boyfriend came out and pushed the guy down. No big deal. But the guy pulls a gun out and kills him, and he's dead because he pushed a guy down. Like you have to do. There is the chance you're going to deal with a crazy person.
Yeah, I'm full. Yeah, I have no interest, man. You can be freaking shot in 5 seconds.
If it's your buddy or somebody and you guys are gonna go, and that's fine.
But
the guy down the road, like you want to go, cool, whatever. But if it's just some fucking person you've never met in your life, be careful. The
street fights I got in
concealed carry.
The street fights I got in were. Before ironically, the second I began to learn how to fight, I never got in another fight. Before then I was a dick. I was an egotistical moron, drinking, treating people bad. I was just a young man. And you're doing street fights, trying to prove how tough you are. Like, there was a very good chance one time I could have been freaking killed. You know, we got jumped by 8. We got jumped by 8 guys, and there was 3 of us, and these guys were college wrestlers. And like what happened is one of them, I was getting stomped out, and I was like, I'm gonna die here. There's nothing I can do. There's 4 dudes kicking the shit out because I was the biggest guy, and one of them suplexed my buddy on his head in the parking lot, and my buddy went limp, and like you could heard him. You know that sound when when a person hits, you know how that sound is. That's the sound, and the guys that were like stomping me stopped. I stopped. Everybody stopped and like thought he was dead, so they ran. And to be honest, that was the best thing that could have happened because my buddy got up, he got his bell rung, he got knocked out, but
that's never
good. They stopped stomping me. You know, it was real early on. It was like 20 seconds in. I mean, a college wrestler versus a guy that doesn't know how to wrestle, that guy's going down in less than 20 secones probably. If he gets a hold of him, it's over. And it was like, it's actually a good thing that happened because I might be fucking dead. Those guys might have been able to kill me, you know?
Right. If a college wrestler stands up with you and clinches with you for a second or two, he's just fucking with you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It's all a cat and mouse game.
The guys that wrestle in college are a different breed of people, and it's like when you're in a bar taking shots and you're like, oh, screw these wrestlers. That's before I knew what a wrestler could do. You know, now that I know, I'm be like, that guy has a college wrestling sweatshirt on. I don't want anything to do with that.
One of my first tournaments, there was a guy, former college wrestler. He took his gi out of the plastic as he was right before he got on the mat. Brand new white belt unfurled.
God.
Oh, you're gonna get a bloody nose. You're getting your teeth chipped in that one.
Oh my God.
So yeah, that's when I learned at tournaments I need my mouth guard in because my my teeth went through my lip.
Yeah. Naga, man. The first time I ever competed at Naga, I went up against a guy who was he was doing no-gi as a beginner, but he was a Division I national champion.
Oh God!
I'm like, how the fuck did he get in this bracket? I've never grappled in my life in a tournament. It's the first time I've ever rolled in a fucking tournament, and the guy just dominated me and destroyed me in like 2 minutes. I'm like, well, what do you expect, man? The guy's a freaking college wrestler. Like I've been taking bong hits in a dorm room and shit. You know, like it was just that really soured me on competing because I did a few tournaments in a row where the schedule was really bad and the matchups were really bad. And it was like, man, this isn't worth it.
Have you done a Grappling Industries tournament?
I have not. I don't even know if they come through our area. They usually have like Fuji here. Okay. We get Flow Combat here. We get the major one is, I gotta look. AGF, American Grappling Federation.
I've never heard of them.
Their tournaments are supposedly really good and really well organized. Like that's the one. And then our guys go to IBJJF stuff all over the country.
I can't do that.
No, I'm not going to fly to Vegas.
No, but the deal is, so with Grappling Industries, brown and black belts are getting in for free the next 2 years. And it's round robin. So if there's 2 or 3 people in your division, you're getting at least 4 matches.
That's great.
And gi and no gi is included in the $80 price.
Yeah, that makes it a little more fun. Like I don't want to go to a tournament and it's a very real you know, some of these tournaments you got 40 guys in your bracket. There's only 3 of those guys that are getting medals. Everybody, half of those guys are going home the first freaking day. So like there's a very good chance you can travel, cut weight, do all that stuff, go out in your match, get caught in 1 minute, and you're getting sent home.
Done. Yep. I've done 15 matches in one division one time.
Yeah.
We got a silver in that guy. Ooh, that's brutal. But so Derek, what I was gonna say to you, and
hold on, guys. Hold on real quick. I'll be back later. I've got to take my wife out to eat, so
good for you.
I'll be back. You guys are still going to be on to the telethon.
Well, who knows?
Derek, if you don't stay on longer than Johnny Carson, you're not a real fucking host.
Broadcaster.
No, you're not. You're not.
I'm a bitch. All right, man. We might be here.
All right, bye.
What were you going to ask me?
So what I was going to say to you, so what's more important than you starting a martial art is getting your kids into martial arts. And I'll tell you this, karate, my son does both karate and jiu-jitsu. Karate ain't it.
No.
I mean, it teaches them discipline, but the stuff they teach them is just terrible, man. So there's this guy, he was at open mat last 2 Sundays ago, sitting there talking shit, 20-year-old kid. He was some belt in Taekwondo and a black belt in karate. So we were sparring Muay Thai. I put on my 16-ounce gloves just to be a nice guy. And with a 20% punch, I got him in a clinch. 20% uppercut, I rocked the shit out of him.
Yeah.
I felt really bad. And then he kind of recovered that. I'm like, all right, man, I'll just do defense, whatever, do whatever. And he's throwing this weird spinny shit. I'm like, this isn't gonna work at all.
Yo, dude, I've seen my coaches. We had a guy come in that was like had a big ponytail and like he was coming in talking about how he's a black belt in Shotokan karate and all this other shit. It's like, yeah, well, that's cool, man. Everyone's welcome here. We're all training. Put your gloves and your shin guards on, your mouthpiece in, and let's spar. Yeah. And then my coach and him are sparring, and the guy is like he was just outclassed. It wasn't even he looked completely lost, looked drowned. He just did not look comfortable. It's like, he's like, you've been a black belt in karate for 15 years. Well, yeah, because you get a black belt in karate in like 2 years.
My son is.
I'm not shitting all over it because I know there's some that's applicable, but
my son's about to be he's a red belt, so he's a couple belts away from black belt, and he's 9.
Oh wow! Because they won't even let you have a blue belt in jiu-jitsu till you're 16.
Right. I have a friend who just turned teammate, not necessarily a friend, but a teammate who just turned 16, and he's got his youth green belt. That's about as high as he can go. And he wants to ask for his blue belt because he just turned 16, but he hasn't done it. Obviously, you know the deal. You're not going to ask.
Yeah. Yeah. If you ask, you're not getting everything you're doing is getting moved back like 6 months.
Right. Exactly. So, like I said, I don't care about belts because the only thing I care about is in live competition being able to heel hook, toe hold, all that stuff.
So you like more no-gi style or more like, catch wrestling and that kind of stuff?
No, I like it all.
Yeah.
But there's more times than not to where it's hard to explain, but let's say somebody's on top and switching. It's the best way. Probably going from half guard to side control. I can catch a foot in a toe hold sometimes if they're being sloppy about it.
Yeah.
Oh, and it pisses them off too. It's great. Because during the quarantine, we were in my buddy's old horse barn training. So, belt shit doesn't apply there. And I was getting decent at the leg locks and toe holds and all that. And then we get back in the gym and it's like I had to stop immediately what I was doing, live rolling at least. So that's the only reason it's tough.
Yeah, a lot of guys at the more advanced levels don't like when white belts are going for foot locks and stuff like that. And I'm actually one of those guys because I've had 2 knee surgeries already. Ooh, and and they're both, they're both jiu-jitsu related and stuff like that. So it's like, there's some days, I got 10 or 11 years of grappling. Like I don't want to go to fucking war. There's some days I just want to get some smooth rolls in, some technical rolls in and get warmed up and try some new stuff and not have to like just go to freaking war. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's some guys that come in and they do that, but a lot of those guys don't last long in the sport because they get banged up so bad.
The only thing that's permanently banged up on me, and I hate it, is because I'm just a 3-year white belt. People think I did it on purpose. I have cauliflower ears, man.
Oh, yeah.
I see video of people trying to give it to themselves. It pisses me off because, dude, that shit hurts for like a month to 6 weeks until it heals.
Yeah, I've been lucky, man. I've got like a couple little spots like on the side of my ear where there's some cauliflower going, but for the most part, like I was told, I was like, why aren't I getting cauliflower ear? I was telling my doctor because my ears were hurting. Like, especially when you're not used to it and your ears are getting rubbed up against the gi, which feels like a rough, like rug. It's fucking scraping on your ears. Like I'm like, man, my ears hurt. Why aren't I getting cauliflower? He's like, you have really malleable ears.
Oh,
I'm like, that's nice. Is that nice?
Yeah.
Is that a good thing? Do I have? I'm like, hey, babe, I have malleable ears. Check this out.
Does that ever go away, or is that just forever?
No, it's there forever. Yeah, you can get surgery, and then even then, it's a little bit fucked up, and you can drain it when it gets real swollen. And like I've seen some guys drain their cauliflower ears, and it's one of the most disgusting things you'll ever see in your life. Like they stick a syringe in it, and but you might as well just let it go because it's once it starts, it's just pretty much there, and it's going to be there.
So when I drain mine, I pack it and let it. I have to wear headgear for like 4 weeks until it heals. So it's not out of control, but it's there, and it hurts from Thursday night from clinching.
Yeah, I've been lucky, man. I'm a pretty long guy. I'm 6'2". So and I'm about 200 pounds. So I'm a pretty long guy, and I play a lot of like open guard and stuff like that. And my ears don't get too busted up. I get more busted up when I do kickboxing. My ears get busted up more when I kickbox than when I do jiu-jitsu now.
Sorry, Derek, we're talking a little shop here.
Yeah,
you're good, man. I'm just
change the subject if you'd like, Derek. We can go we can talk about anything.
Tell us about your podcast, Joe.
I have 2 podcasts.
Tell us about your 2 podcasts.
I had to quit Savage Thoughts because they moved to Thursdays, and I wanted to start training Muay Thai more seriously. So I had to quit. And it's a work night, and it was 45 minutes away. Is a bit of a pain in the ass. So I have my RC car podcast for RC car racing called Ran Out of Talent. That one, it's okay in America. Like it's made the top 50 in Stitcher. It's top 50 in the hobbies category on Apple Podcasts. For some reason, it's huge in Malaysia. It's been number 1 on the total charts in Malaysia several times. I don't get it. Do they even speak English in Malaysia?
I have no idea. So when you're talking about it, are you bringing other people on that are enthusiasts about RC cars, and you guys were talking about the new stuff and all that, or what?
I have my co-host. No, you're fine. I have my co-host and whatnot, and we just sit and talk shit. Sometimes we have a small company owner on with us too. We don't do video; we're just audio only.
Oh, cool.
So,
is this stuff that you guys do live, or is it pre-recorded when you do it?
Pre-recorded, because there's been 2 or 3 times I've had to edit some pretty gnarly shit out of there.
I can understand that.
Yeah. Then the other one, I do them both Sundays, and I'm doing them both this Sunday. Cauliflower Ear Podcast. One of the guys who took me under his belt when I started, he's 3-stripe blue belt. He's an animal. He's 205 pounds, 9% body fat type. So we just started, and it's supposed to be an MMA show, but like the last episode, we talked 15 minutes about MMA, and then we went on super long about burgers, and then his doctor sent him this email to start a trial. They're making a patch that you wear that stops premature ejaculation.
What?
Yeah. So we went off about that. Like, what the fuck is your doctor emailing you that for?
Maybe they had a conversation.
Yeah,
maybe. But yeah, it's a fun podcast we do. I mean,
if you ever need a guy that can talk about jiu-jitsu and MMA, I know a guy. If you guys ever need somebody, if you ever need a nerd that watches everything.
Yeah, for sure. So like he watches like it's funny. His specialty is like wrestling. Like he watches Flow Grappling constantly. And for some reason, my knowledge of MMA is almost all women's MMA. I don't know why, but like it's like
Oh, we know why.
Yeah, nah, dude, it's not. I mean, there are a couple of smoke shows and whatnot, but really not. Like, it's more interesting. Like, there's a fighter. She's fighting this weekend. Lauren Murphy from Alaska. What happened with her was she was a heroin addict, and she wanted to get her son into something, so she brought him into a jiu-jitsu gym, and she ended up liking it. And then a couple years later, she's in the UFC, you know, cleaned up her life, all that shit. It's like more interesting stories.
See, like honestly though, like as far as like when he was joking earlier, to me, I think Ronda Rousey, if she's done up, she can be an attractive girl. But like
Her
pre-fight,
vagina is very sad.
I've never seen it. I would like to see it just to say I've seen it. But like during like when she's dressed up to get ready to fight, like that's not really sexy to me. And like to me, and I'm very old school, like I'm very thankful that I've never seen my wife run full speed, because we had like the hottest teacher in the world. She was so hot, and one day she ran full speed, and that was it. I was just like,
Not hot anymore.
that's I don't like. I don't want to watch a girl kick somebody's ass. You know, like I just don't want to watch that. But there are some guys out there that are into that. But like I do think that. Yeah, I think it's you could say that people watch women's MMA and they're not getting their kicks off to it. They're just like into the fighting, I guess.
I'm not.
I mean,
I am. Like when I watch it, I'm not watching it because for that reason at all. Like I'm watching it because there's two girls fucking scrapping, and I'm like, this is sweet. You got two people going for it, and sometimes you see like it almost seems like the women are more. It seems like they're even more stubborn sometimes. Like when you can see a guy, like when you're watching a fight with guys, sometimes you can see one of the fighters like break. You can
Like-
see that a guy gasses or whatever, but in the women's fights, they might break and gas, but they're still throwing these cheap elbows or still throwing. You're just like, I mean, it's nice to watch people just be gutsy like that, you know. And some of the women's fight, like arguably the fight of the year was a women's fight this year. And there's a lot of people that are saying
I'm back.
There he is. But a lot of people are
crap.
saying the fight of the year this year was a women's fight. So
Yeah. Sorry, I'm back. I had to switch off the Wi-Fi.
but yeah, I mean, like I am one of those guys. I'm reading the articles, Derek.
No, that's good. Yeah, like you know, like a lot of I just don't think there's a lot of guys that are watching women's UFC because like, ooh, it's sexy time. I think they're just like,
It's
let's watch a
not.
fucking fight, you know.
Yeah,
It's
fans of the fights.
Now,
There
girls
there
watching
are some-
guys fight, they might think that's sexy.
There
I
are
don't
some really good fighters, but the gap between the women fighters is way too big. Like Valentina Shevchenko, 125-pound women champion. She's going to go up against this woman named Jennifer Maia. I don't think it'll go past 2 rounds.
I'd be shocked. I mean, Shevchenko is a monster, and there's no like the way it's weird because the sport evolved so quickly. When it started to hit like mass popularity, when they started rebranding it and it started to gain mass popularity, this sport has evolved and grown like so much since the beginning.
But do you think with that, like, you know, like is the integrity messed up a little bit with production? Like, do you think that on a lot of these fights, they're putting somebody that they know is going to win against somebody that they know is going to lose to sell tickets?
I think in certain circumstances, sometimes the matchups are favorable for certain fighters to put them in correct marketing situations.
Because to me,
Definitely.
that was to me like when UFC first came out, like we rented it, and my buddy's dad, we watched like 4 minutes, and he took it out and gave us a talking to. He's like, "That is disgusting." He's like, "That you don't
I
watch
just-
that."
See,
But
that's
I mean,
what
this
got
was
me
like
hooked.
1996.
UFC
you know?
1 was terrible. I just
It was
watched
terrible.
I'm
It got me
watching
hooked.
1 and 2. Yeah, I just watched 1 and 2 because they came on ESPN Plus.
But I mean, this is before
compared to what it
YouTube.
is now, I was like,
I had
Oh
never
my
seen somebody
God.
beaten to a pulp before that. I'd
Right.
seen a few fights where somebody got a nosebleed. I had never seen somebody punch somebody's face until they were unconscious. Like, boxing is even way more tame than, UFC. Boxing's like, oh, they got gloves on. You see somebody get fucked up a little bit. But the first time, UFC 1, as whack as it is compared to what they do now,
Oh, yeah.
1990, whatever it was, that was shocking, dude. I remember being like, God damn, these guys are fucking crazy, man.
Well, they were, I mean, they were like soccer kicking each other up against the fence in the head and shit, and like elbowing each other in the nuts and like head butting and all kinds of crazy shit. And they're like wrestling versus karate, Muay Thai versus, Tai
Do you think
Chi.
it should be that though? Like, give the people what they want? Like,
what do you mean? Just feed these guys cans
my
and just let
son,
them beat the fuck out of them?
my kid's favorite game in the world is a battle simulator. Like that's what UFC was. Like, let's see what happens if, because before UFC, it was like, I wonder who would win between a guy who's really good at karate and a guy who's really good at jiu-jitsu. UFC was like, well, let's fucking find out, man. Let's throw him in the octagon, man.
Now, if you don't have at least a basic set of skills, like in everything, you're not even going to make it to the UFC. Like, you got to be able to wrestle, you got to be able to strike, you got to know some jiu-jitsu, you got to know how to box, you got to know everything. Because if you don't, your opponent's going to figure it out in 5 seconds and just exploit you in that aspect of the game, which makes it so interesting, because it's like these dudes are both really well rounded in a lot of shit, and we're just waiting for one of these guys to make a mistake.
Right.
Who's going to make the mistake? And when the guy makes the mistake, is the guy going to capitalize on it?
So you guys have turned fighting into football.
Similar in a way. I mean, that's a chess. That's how I watch it. I mean,
and I'm more of a Jerry Springer fighter. Like, I just want to be like, what the fuck did he call him? And then and I can like, Stephanie loves UFC, and she'll like, we don't ever buy the fights or anything, but like if we're somewhere and they're playing, she'll watch them and stuff. And I enjoy them too. But like, to me, like, that's once everything just got to where, like, the last boxing match I watched was Floyd Mayweather versus Victor Ortiz, because he was from Garden City. And it was I thought I was watching a Vince McMahon production. I was like, really? That's how it ends? Like, to me, I was like, this is obvious. Like, this reeks of Victor Hernandez taking a big ass paycheck to take a dive in the worst, clowniest way possible. I mean, that guy was all smiles at the end of that fight. He's like, well, I try my best. I was like, yeah, you just got $10 million probably.
Dude, that's how I felt about Conor McGregor and Cerrone. When Conor McGregor knocked in the first 40 seconds, and Cerrone was just like, oh, well. And he was like, I'm just happy to be here with this guy. And, this and that. I'm like, this dude's just collecting a paycheck, man.
Yeah, dude. And
I don't know that for a fact. Who am I to talk shit about that guy? That guy would kill me in 4 seconds.
Well, in boxing, I know for sure. I've talked to some people that are like in amateur, like boxing promoters and stuff. And they'll straight up say, oh, yeah, there's a huge possibility that these big, huge fights are ringers. Like, there's a huge possibility, like they're like, that shit happens on our level, like people throw fights, people, betting, gambling, all that shit. Like, that shit's real. And then you have Floyd Mayweather, in my opinion, who's so rich and so rich in his craft and so rich in finances that he doesn't have to fight anybody he doesn't want to fight. So I don't see him fighting anybody that has any, like, that could beat him, like, easily.
No,
I don't
he's
see him fighting anybody.
Money Mayweather, baby. He's going to take fights that make money, and that's it.
Yes,
and he's a prize fighter. That's what he should do. Do
you want to know a bigger money fight that he'll never take? Is him versus McGregor in full rules MMA. He'll never
No way.
He doesn't want to get embarrassed. He'll never do it.
No way. He wouldn't have a snowball.
Well, would it even be fair though? Because he probably doesn't know shit besides boxing, right?
Money.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to grapple. He has no jujitsu. He has no kicks, no kick defense, no clinch. I mean, maybe a little clinch.
He's
stuff.
a glamour boxer. He's
a point fighter. He's slick. Yeah. He's slick. He's a boxer. He's really slick.
It would be bigger money for him. But Derek, so the reason why the UFC and mixed martial arts in a whole evolved at least in the United States the way it did, because in one championship in Ryzen, like, soccer kicks are still legal. Soccer kicks is when they're on the ground, you can kick them in the head. That's not legal in most organizations. The reason that happened was because John McCain was bought by Budweiser, who was the biggest boxing promoter or sponsor at the time. So John McCain called it human cockfighting. He tried to outlaw it. So instead of that, they came up with a set of general rules you had to follow. They came up with weight classes, and they work with the commissions. So like in MMA, let's say in the United States, I'm making my pro debut. The commission will not license me to fight somebody like Conor McGregor. They'll put me against somebody else with a similar like 1-0 or 0-1 or 2-0 record. So there is a lot of work that is done and still needs to be done to make the sports like legitimate now. Back on the tape you saw like in UFC 1 and all that crap, it wasn't a legitimate sport. It was literally, there's a compilation
But are we
tape.
missing out on that not being around anymore? Just like throwing two people in a ring that think they're badass.
I mean, are we missing out on that? Because I mean, you can find that shit on any YouTube
so.
on YouTube every day of your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't
we
feel
get him
like
a
we
ring,
are.
Dusty. I mean, we don't have to call it UFC.
Well, there's stuff on you. There's stuff on YouTube. Trust me, I can send you some. I can send you some backyard MMA shit that'll blow your mind.
Yeah, legally, yeah.
Legally, no. Legally, without a commission, you can do K1 style kickboxing, and then can you do straight boxing without a commission?
I'm not sure. I don't like the stuff I pay attention to. All like even bare knuckle that has to be commissioned. MMA, Muay Thai, boxing, kickboxing, grappling, all that stuff.
I judge for a local amateur promoter.
Yeah.
So most of the fights are K1 rules, but 1 or 2 fights will sneak in a full Muay Thai rule or maybe a Class C Muay Thai fight just to try to skirt the commissions.
Yeah. So it gets real sketchy at the local levels and stuff like that. When you go to these smokers and stuff like that, where these gyms are just having like these intramural fights. And these guys show up and they're wrapping their hands like 3 times as thick as they're supposed to be. And they're throwing bombs and knocking people the fuck out. And they're not checking their gloves before. Because I mean, once you become refined, if you're giving yourself an advantage with equipment or anything like that, it can be deadly. You know what I mean? You can tape someone's hand a little heavier. And if he lands that punch, it's going to knock you the fuck out. So I mean, like that's what commissions are checking. Are the gloves the same? Like, just make it the same for everybody. But unfortunately,
you gotta have that, yeah.
Unfortunately, especially at the highest levels where these guys can kick you once and you're never the same. You have to at least make it fair. I mean, you're signing on the dotted line. You know what you're getting yourself into. You know what the risks are, but at the same time, it has to be fair. It does. And I think at the local levels and some of the regional stuff and all that, I think that's where it gets a little more Wild West. And you get some weird matchups and stuff.
We got to get out of here in a minute, but I got to ask you guys this. How far away are we as a society before we go back to gladiator styles where it's like the only one walks away and it's televised?
Not far, honestly. I don't feel like we're far. I heard they were trying to do something in Russia on this weird podcast that I've listened to, and I'm not sure if that was true. But then you're seeing these medieval fights where guys are wearing like suits of armor with swords and shields and hammers and shit. Yep. And they're doing mixed martial arts in full armor, or they're doing team martial arts where it's 5-on-5 and an obstacle course and shit where you can climb up.
Do you guys support that? Shit. Say if America came up with a thing and it said we are doing a new reality show and there's literally only going to be one contestant left and we're done. Like fight to the death.
I'm fine with it as long as everybody that signs up for it knows what they're getting themselves into.
You kind of have to.
If you're not forcing people, if you're not like forcing prisoners to do it, I mean, even then I might be interested. But I mean, what's that?
One of the promotions used to grab prisoners, or like people off the street. Do you remember Alimale McFarland beating the shit out of that soccer mom?
Oh yeah, it wasn't her, but yeah, I remember. Yes.
Well, that organization was put down because they took prisoners, garbage men, mailmen, and they put them against professional fighters.
Yeah. And he just beat the fucking brakes off that poor lady. It was terrible.
He fought a lady?
No, it wasn't even 10 seconds.
No, it was a women's fight, but one of the women was a professional fighter, and one of them was like a soccer mom, and she's got fucking bombed on. Yeah. And that's pretty much how it looked. And you're just like, oh my God, stop it. Please stop it. Please stop it.
But I'm for anything that's mutual. And I would also like a ref there to stop it in case somebody's eyes roll back. Like you see it a whole bunch to where somebody gets knocked out with one punch and then woken up with another. That fight should be stopped.
Yeah, I'm never a fan of when you see the guy snoring and then they always go in for that you have to finish your work, like I'm always like, that's gonna suck because he doesn't need it, but you're gonna have to give it. But he doesn't need that,
Because how many of those do you see though where a guy's eyes roll back, he falls down, he recovers, he gets up and throws a haymaker and knocks the other guy out. It's like, if I get you down,
it's one of those
I'm putting you away till the ref pulls your ass off me, period.
It's the version of putting him down, it's like, it's like, well, I've got you down, but now I have to end the fight. And we all seen the movies. We all know how this happens,
Yeah.
I've been watching a little bit of Lethway lately.
Yeah.
So what that is, it's Muay Thai, but bare knuckle, and you can use headbutts.
Yeah, there's no padding, but it's awesome.
But what's screwed up is once you get knocked out, they give you time to recover and get back in the fight.
Yeah.
That's the screwed up part.
And the guys that are fighting it are kicking banana trees in half and kicking flagpoles with their bare shins and headbutting each other unconscious and into another dimension. And it's just a savage sport.
Every time I go knee to shin or do the wrong, every time something gets checked, I always do. I'm like, dude, I should start rolling my shins with a baseball bat. But when the pain goes away, I'm like, that's a dumb thought.
Yeah, I'm not doing that either. That's what they told me. I got this big knot on one of my shins from kicking a lot. And that's like, I was talking to one of the guys who does a lot of Muay Thai. And he's like, you got to roll your shins out, dude. I'm like, I sit at a desk for a living.
Yeah.
I'm not rolling a fucking empty beer bottle over my shin to be like, I'm just not going to do that. My wife's going to look at me and be like, all right, bro, this is getting a little too serious.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, where do they find your podcast? I'm gonna go get some Waffle House after this bitch.
Ran Out of Talent. You find it on Apple, Stitcher, and Podbean. And Cauliflower, you just find it on Apple and Stitcher.
Sweet, man. Well, I'm glad you stopped by. Dusty, tell everybody where they can find your music, and then you got his show's coming out. His stream's coming out pretty soon. Tell everybody about that.
You can find my music pretty much anywhere that music is streamed. Spotify's the best place. My website's a good resource, dustygrant.com. My Twitch is at dustygrant57. I'm on Twitter. Twitter and Twitch are probably the best place to get a hold of me. The best place to find my stuff is Spotify and YouTube if you want to check out my music and stuff like that. So
hold on real quick, because I always ask everybody who does jiu-jitsu, what's your favorite submission to put on somebody?
Right now I'm a Kimura. I've been working a lot of Kimuras in my game, yeah.
Right now, mine's been the swipe choke.
The swipe choke. I'm not sure I'm familiar.
You're an old school crossbody. You get underneath his arm, you swipe it, and then you go under his neck the opposite direction. Everybody has a different reaction. Some people tap because of shoulder pressure. Some people tap because it's like
a head and arm choke type variation.
A little bit, yeah, but you're just an old school crossbody.
Nice. I'm going to do that to someone tomorrow at Open Mat.
Fuck yeah.
I'm going to find a white belt at Open Mat tomorrow and practice that on him.
Some guy's just having a day right now. He has no idea what's going to happen.
Some guy's like, son of a bitch.
He's eating ice cream, watching TV. All right, guys, I got to get out of here. Good show. Joe, thanks so much for stopping by. We have to do it again, man.
Good to meet you, Joe.
Thanks.
Take care, brother.
Yeah, see you. Bye, guys.
All right, later, guys. Take it easy. Where's the thing? I don't know. I can't find it. There it is. All right, later, guys.
Well,
I don't think it, I thought it, that's different. I said what I said and I meant it, or lamented. Words given weight without thought in a person, the way that I talk and the way that I ought to be able to pause and to say that the fault can be placed on my arm, to this playful assault, to this race in its arm. Pray for the day they could wait for the calm. You can't control the storm, only weather it, whether it's 5 weeks and 5 days of rain sideways, or scorched earth, search for death or water, left with all the thorns, with the petals gone, settle on the breath of autumn. If the ground fits,